Hey, what's going on, everyone? Henry Kaminski here from doesnt. And in this video, I'm going to share with you why it's so important to understand that the quality of your brand will determine the quality of your clients, and why everyone these days should be investing in their personal brand. So stay tuned. I got a great show coming up for you. Let's get into it. So let's dive in and get started. Your time is valuable, and I want to just hit the ground running and just help you win, okay? So here's what we're gonna do. I want you to understand this concept. The quality of your brand will determine the quality of your clients, okay? So before we get started, I have a question for you, okay? Why are you here? Okay, why are you here? What made you sign up for this training today? Why are you trying to create a better business? Why are you trying to level up your lifestyle? Why are you doing what you're doing? I really want to identify that question immediately, because that's going to determine your success from here on out. If I had to take a guess, guys, here's what I'm thinking. You want to level up the value, level up the significance, level up the influence, the impact that you want to make on your industry, the clients that you want to help and serve. Something tells me you would not be watching this today if you did not want to increase the value of your business and your life. So if that sounds like you, then you're in the right place. If you're here trying to get rich quick, if you're here trying to cut corners, if you're here trying to, hack your way through business, you're in the wrong place. Okay? So I just want to identify that and make that super clear. Okay? So let's get back into the presentation and continue on. So whether you know it or not, like I mentioned, you're probably here to increase the value and quality of your brand, your business, and your life, okay? So here's a quick little backstory for you guys, okay? So I started off as a graphic designer back in 2006, okay? So I was that guy creating all the nightclub flyers in the nightclub industry that all the promoters would stick on your car, while you were at the club or while you were in the strip mall getting groceries or whatever the case may be. That's how I got started in the graphic design business, okay? I was working at a 9-to-5. I was working for a hospital for 8 years, right? And I was cleaning coffee pots, and I was registering insurances for people that were coming in for same-day surgeries. I had graduated a 4-year college. I was trying to get into the workforce. I was trying to do what I could to, just get into my professional career. And what I realized was people that have no experience have to start at the bottom. So I understood that. I got a lot of no's, but eventually I used some of my resources, and I was able to get a position at this hospital. And I started from the ground up. And so I went for my master's degree, got my master's degree in business management, and then consistently tried to apply for every managerial or directorial position I could at the hospitals. Got 1,000 no's, but eventually I got an assistant director position at the Children's Hospital, designing and creating special events and fundraising events for sudden infant death syndrome, families that have lost a baby to SIDS. So I would create these fundraising events, raise this money, and then I would be able to spend that money on family events, community supportive events, to bring all the families in the state of New Jersey that lost a baby to SIDS together for support. So it was a very rewarding job, very sad, but that's where I got my my marketing skills and my graphic design skills, because we always needed marketing material to create amazing results for our events. So found a buddy that knew graphic design, started to learn, and eventually taught myself. And then fast forward 2 years, hospital was doing some downsizing. I needed to level up. You know, I was in my professional career 8 years. I was like, am I going to go backwards because they were threatening that I was going to be someone's secretary? Or is it time to take the entrepreneurial leap and create this business and brand for yourself? And so that's what I did. Okay. And so to tell you, you know, the first year was great. I hustled. I worked 20 hours a week. I was living in a little 1-bedroom apartment, and I was cranking out. I had a girlfriend who's now my wife. But I thought I was living the dream, you know, 20-hour work days, very minimal time to do anything that I wanted to do. I basically just was a workhorse. Great thing was I got a bunch of experience. Bad thing was I had no time for myself. I had no quality of life. Okay. So here's what happened. After the first year, I was able to make $248,000 in revenue. It was great. But then I hit a brick wall. Hurricane Sandy came in, Fiverr came in, demolished the design industry, and I lost some big clients through the Hurricane Sandy storm. And I needed to figure out how to make back like $250,000 from 2 clients that had dropped me once they restructured and rebuilt their business after the storm. And I just wasn't able to do that. And what happened was my business started to flounder, and I started to hate my clients. I started to hate the work that I did. And this was a huge problem. And eventually it all caught up to me because I was still living a lifestyle way above my means while my business was getting crushed. And eventually I was negative in my bank account. I didn't know what to do. I had to go to my wife and explain what was going on. And it was a sad part of my life. I thought I was a complete failure. I was in business for 7 years, and I was just not willing to give up on those 7 years. And so I got help, and I found a mentor. His name was Russell Brunson, and I started to work under his wing. And at the time, his coaching program was $10,000. I didn't have that, but I put it on a credit card. I took a chance, and I said, it's not if this works, it's when this works. And we got to work, and I'll never forget it. First call with Russell, we were both bawling our eyes out. I was telling him my whole story, and that day he signed me on a $6K project, on a contract, $6K contract project on his first book launch. And I was able to make 60% of that $10K back in one sitting, you know, just by telling my story and putting myself out there and investing in myself. And so he taught me how to scale. He saw what was going on inside of my business, and he taught me how to scale. But as I was scaling, I kind of looked like this. I was a one-man band. I did not have the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to scale a business like mine. So I was trying to be everybody. I was the accountant. I was the salesperson. I was the executioner. I was the designer. I was the one delivering print collateral. I was doing everything. Okay. I felt like this in my business. My business was my ball and chain, and it broke me down to the point where I just didn't know what else to do. Right. And then I slowly took the monies that I was making, and I was investing it into scaling my business. I started to hire a team. I built out an infrastructure. I built out processes and systems. But before I was able to do that, this is what it sort of looked like prior to meeting Russell, prior to actually getting my hands dirty and actually scaling my business. And so eventually I started to do business like this. And what happened was I was walking this tightrope, and, you know, a lot of things went wrong. I lost a lot of clients. I built up my business back, but the problem was I didn't have the processes and systems in place to sustain that business. I remember rolling out one of my first coaching programs, or I should say Designs on Demand program. I got 30 people in one day, right? Big spike in revenue, but I couldn't fulfill the orders fast enough. So I lost a lot of business. And so, eventually it all caught up to me. And then I started to get focused. I really started to understand where I wanted to be in my life and in my business and where I wanted to take it. And so until I got that clarity and focus, I was walking that tightrope like I just showed you. And when I got that clarity, everything started to change. So the one thing that I will tell you is this: branding starts with belief, okay? And so I believe that purpose drives brand, okay? Purpose drives brand, right? A lot of people will say, that's what's driving these millennials to really attach themselves to particular brands out there these days, because they are purpose driven. They want to be part of something that has purpose behind it, okay? So let me share with you a quick little story on how my purpose got created. So when I was a baby, I used to hear my mom tell this story all the time. And there she is on the left, God rest her soul. And she used to tell all of her girlfriends that I was her miracle baby. And what happened was when my parents were trying to start a family years and years and years ago in the late 60s, they had a difficult time. They could not get pregnant. My mom could not get pregnant. And so they tried for 16 years to have me. And when I hear that story, I say to myself, man, these two individuals, these two human beings have some persistence, some drive, some passion to start a family, because I don't know if I would go for 16 years trying to have a kid, right? I'll talk about that later on, but it was very, very interesting to hear this story. And so finally, as medicine got better throughout the years, one of these doctors found out what was wrong. My mom went in for a minor surgery, and on the day, for all you Catholics, of the Immaculate Conception, yours truly was conceived. And so when I hear that story, I think of all of the grit that and the passion that my parents had to put up front in order for me to be here today. And the plot thickens. 2 years after I was born, my mom comes into my room and sees me in the crib, blue in the face and unresponsive. She freaks out, calls 911. The ambulance comes. They rush me to the hospital, and there was this weird thing that just happened to me. I believe I lost, from what my mom says, I lost all the salt in my body, and that was the issue. And so the doctors revived me, and here I am today. And so when I hear that story, I always say to myself, man, they tried 16 years to have a child. They finally had me, and then 2 years in, they almost lose me to some freak, weird, medical condition. Like, that tells me that I'm here for a reason. I'm here for a purpose. Right? I'm here on borrowed time. I'm here to make a difference. Okay. And I'm not going to change that for anything. And I'm going to leave this planet impacting and influencing people and helping them recognize their potential and help them get to a life and business that they're proud to live and promote. And so that's a little bit of a backstory of me and my purpose and why I created Unique Designs in the first place. Okay. So 38 years later, I'm a proud dad of a 15-month-old boy, Dante Christian. I am a beautiful father. I have a beautiful dog, Canella, who is a rescue. We've had him now 6 years. He was a blessing. He's the reason why my wife and I decided to have children in the first place. People were like, "Oh my God, look at the way you treat this dog, guys. Like, you would be awesome parents." But in our eyes at the time, we didn't think that we could be the best parents. And so, when we had Canella, he changed everything. And well, I should say not when we had him, when we rescued him, he changed everything. And I definitely had a couple more pounds on me back then too. That shirt screaming over there. But now I have a even bigger purpose. It's to provide for my son and my family, and to really get fulfillment out of what I do. And so here he is again. He was probably 2-3 months old here, and he's just been a blessing ever since. And man, when they told me that life's going to fly by when you have kids, they weren't kidding. And there's the little boss man there. I believe that was this summer. We were at our at the country club, at the Lake Mohawk Country Club, having some appetizers for happy hour. And here's the little bruiser and my wife having some fun. So the other thing that I want to share with you is that I believe that your past doesn't dictate your future. Okay, I know a lot of people that I grew up with, went to high school with, that are still living in the past because they thought that, well, these were the cards that I was dealt, and so I just have to live with them. And I didn't take that. I don't believe in that. Okay, and I'm going to call bullshit on that. Okay, and so I'll share with you another quick story. So back in 1996. My parents got divorced, and my father got custody of me, and we had to move out. We had 30 days to move. And so we moved a little bit closer to where he was working at the time. And this was the house. This was 112 Seaview Avenue in Long Branch, New Jersey. And it was a 2-family. We lived on the first floor there. And this house looked very much like it does. I usually go down there once a year to kind of just drive by, see if it's still standing, kind of bring me some reminder of where I started and why I started. But this was my house that I lived in for freshman year, sophomore year of high school. It was right down the street from the project. So, the projects in that neighborhood really kept me out of trouble. But this was the house that I grew up in. And as I continued to evolve as a human being, I said to myself, this is not my life, and this is not going to be my life. And I will do whatever it takes to create a better life for myself, regardless of my past, regardless of my circumstances. And so now in 2018, we've been living in this home for about 2 years now. And this is my dream home. This is our dream home. And our son was born here, and we've created some amazing memories in this house thus far. And we plan on being here for quite some time. It's a beautiful house, and there's a lot of living space. I'm not one of those guys that need, the room, 7 bedrooms and rooms that you'll never stay in or walk through or be in. I'm pretty practical with, and this is a pretty big home. I would probably need a couple more kids to fill it up. But I'm very proud of this home. And I always said, I will consistently raise the bar for myself and my family and be something more than just my past. Okay? So I just want you to understand that when you're building your brand, people are going to want to believe, or they want to invest in people that believe in the same things. And then last but not least, I believe in quality attracting quality. If you want quality clients, you need to be quality yourself. Okay. So here's the deal. Do you want to be perceived as snake oil salesman guy like this dude? Right. And you people are talking behind your back like you're the get rich quick guy, that your processes and systems and your products and services suck. Do you want to be that guy or that gal? Or do you want to be somebody that looks more polished, like my man Adam Wedding? Okay. This guy came to me not too long ago and said, dude, I want a legitimate business. I've done quite well with my sales funnels and my online business, but I need to look more legitimate. When you Google my name, nothing shows up. Okay. Just some old network marketing videos, right? And that's where he built up a lot of his speaking skills and his communication skills. That was his prior life, right? And then as he became an entrepreneur and really started to build out a reputable business for himself, he needed to level up his branding. He needed to level up his positioning. He needed to level up his identity in order to be considered reputable, creditable, and a subject matter expert in his field. Okay. And so what we did was we helped him design his brand identity, his brand messaging, and really help him position himself properly on and offline to help him generate higher quality clients and help him raise the bar with his brand. Okay. And so positioning is everything, guys. I mean, here's where we get into really the meat and potatoes of it. And I want you to understand that if you want to be seen as a subject matter expert, then you need to look the part. Okay. If you want to be seen as replaceable or disposable, if you want to be seen as a commodity, then keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing because it's not going to last too long. Okay. Eventually technology will creep up. Advertising spend will get too expensive. Your competition will be leveling up their standards and their bars, and you're going to be left behind. And I don't want to see that happen. I've seen it happen dozens of times already, and it's not fair. So you have to take action and you have to make it happen. And this is a quote that I live by. You get what you tolerate. If you tolerate mediocre clients, if you tolerate people that don't appreciate your work, if you tolerate clients that are going to nickel and dime you, if you tolerate a business that basically runs you versus you running the business, you're going to lose. And I don't want to see that happen. So you get what you tolerate. When you raise your standards, everything changes. And so I want to be clear on that. All right. So let's get focused. All right. Let's get into it. All right. So number one, who are you speaking to? We need to get really, really clear on this. Why? Because how hard do you think it is to try to deliver a message with clarity and impact and influence to a mass audience like this? How hard do you think that is? It's damn near impossible. Okay. However, what if you focused in your messaging, your branding, your marketing on one particular person, like this fine young lady here? Wouldn't it be a hell of a lot easier to dial in that messaging, to dial in that focus, to dial in that marketing message, and to become super clear on the challenges and pains that this one person has versus the mob scene that I just showed you? Yes. So that's why I want you to really get clear on who you're speaking with. Otherwise, you're going to speak to everybody and wind up speaking to no one. Okay. And I don't want to see that happen to you. All right. The next thing I want you to focus in on is, what is their biggest pain? Do you know your audience better than they know themselves? Okay. Because when you know that, you can deliver a solution, a very specific solution. Okay. And the other thing is you can also market these pains and challenges, because people will move much more faster to avoid pain, and they will make decisions much more fluidly when they are trying to avoid pain versus trying to gain pleasure. Okay. And that's the bottom line. So knowing your audience, knowing who you're speaking with matters. And so we want to understand what their pain points are, what their challenges are, what they're trying to accomplish. Why haven't they accomplished them yet? Right? Those goals, those end results, right? So you really want to focus in on their pain. You really want to identify what these are and then create solutions and create content around them. You're really going to start to resonate. You're going to really start to become more relevant to them, and you're going to grab their attention. You're going to grab their attention better than anyone else because they're going to say, wow, this person gets me. Okay? The other thing is the brand who frames the problem best has the best chances of winning the business. And one of the things that I realized the most was this: people love simplicity. You know, we get banged with what, like 3,000-4,000 ads a day. The brand that can simplify the messaging the best and best frame the problem will capture the attention and capture the business, because people want simplicity in their life these days. The world is evolving way too fast for us, and we want that breath of fresh air. We want that simplicity back in our lives. Okay? So the next thing I want you to focus in on is, why do they choose competitors over you? Okay? Why do they choose competitors over you? So you need to know this. Look at your top 3 competitors and ask yourself, what the hell are they doing better than me? And why aren't I doing that? Right? And then you got to put your own spin on it, of course, because I don't want you to be a copycat. I don't want you to funnel hack. I love Russell. I love those guys, but you can't hack your way to success. That's not a sustainable business, in my opinion. Okay? I want you to really make it your own. Because when you just hack your way through things, and Russell will tell you this, you're not understanding the why behind it all. You need to understand the why and define the why for you, and then create a unique brand position, brand solution for your ideal client, okay? And so one of the things I want you to understand is this: you are what you attract. The reason why you're getting low budget clients right now, or clients that are difficult and the ones that you just loathe, is because you're just attracting who it is you are. Okay? And so here's a quick little story on how I lost a 100K deal. All right. And I don't want you to lose like I did. So a few years back, I had a website that was pretty mediocre at best. It was basically like a portfolio site. And a big food distributor came to me and said, we're looking for a big rebrand. Your name came up a couple times in just conversation, and we're reaching out. We'd like to sit down with you and, discuss our rebrand. And I said, sure, sounds good. She says, can you send us any more information on you guys? Now, I wasn't that prepared. And so I didn't have any sort of marketing collateral. I didn't have, a sell sheet or a process sheet or any webinar or video or any content to really send her. All right. And so I said, well, why don't we just get on the phone with the decision maker and we'll make a decision on that point. So she says, all right, let me look at the VP of marketing's schedule and I'll get back to you. So about a week went by. She reaches back out and she says, I appreciate your time thus far, but the VP had to take a look at your website and he just doesn't think that you're going to be a good fit for this rebrand. And I says, why? And he says, well, not to hurt your feelings or anything, but it just doesn't look like you are the level of status that we're going to be looking to invest in. And that hit the ego hard. I'm not going to lie. It hit the ego pretty hard. And it was tough for me to sort of swallow that. And I said, okay, fair enough. And I said, I wish you nothing but luck. And I went on with my business and, eventually they hired somebody else. Right. And when I saw the rebrand a few months later, I was like, oh my God, I could have done 15 times of a better job than what they got. But they perceived me as not as valuable, as not as polished, as not as premium, and not as, top notch as what they were looking for. Right. This was a multi-million-dollar business. You know, they were looking to drop a few $100,000 on this rebrand, right? And I was not in the position to take that because of the way that I looked and the way that I was being perceived. So again, positioning is everything. The quality of your brand will determine the quality of your clients. All right. So I don't want to see that happen to you. I want to see you come with your best foot forward. So people are like, wow, this agency is legit. Okay. Or this personal brand or this influencer or this subject matter expert is legit. Okay. So the best investment you can ever make is in yourself. All right. And I think a lot of folks that are watching this right now understand that, but they don't know how to execute this. Right. There's tons of distraction out there. So how do we execute this efficiently, properly, without waste? Okay. Well, I'm going to share with you. Okay. So here's the question that I have to ask you. What makes you unique? What makes you unique? Okay. And if you cannot define that or articulate that in a simplified manner in 3 seconds or less, you lost me. So we really need to understand what makes you unique and market that. Okay. Besides this guy right here, right? I think this guy's got unique down. All right. Definitely from an identity standpoint, right? So again, what makes you unique? You get the picture. I wanted to get a couple laughs out of you, but we need to stand out and we need to know our point of differentiation, our point of difference. Okay. The next thing I want to discuss with you is designing your personal brand and understanding what that should sound like, look like, and feel like. Okay. So remember this: people buy people first, then they buy your product or service. Okay. You'll see a lot of the bigger brands these days, okay, working the people angle. Okay. Look at Progressive Insurance. Look at Geico Insurance. You know, he's not a person, but he's a, he's a gecko. He's a little character. Okay. And you're going to resonate with that character. Okay. People are buying from people these days, and the big brands are starting to see that, and they're changing the way that they brand themselves in the marketplace. And so because you're a agency that's nimble, or because you're a personal brand that is nimble and able to make moves on the fly, you have an advantage. And take advantage of this and understanding that people buy people first. So put your best foot forward, level up the look and feel of you so that you attract the quality of client that you're looking to attract. Okay. Now, here's the deal: processes and everything. Let me get that might have sounded wrong. Process is everything. Okay. So how are we going to deliver a solution to our clients? Do you have a beautiful customer experience that will be remembered and will be referred and will be talked about? All right. That's one of the things I'm investing in these days, is my infrastructure and the way the customer feels as I take them through my process. Okay. It's very systematic, and it's a very unique way of doing business. Okay. And that is what I am focusing in on. That's my point of differentiation. It's how I deliver result. All right. So how are you going to deliver a solution, right? What are the touch points? How are you going to make them feel? At the end of the day, branding is about creating that relationship between your business and your clients. And step one is understanding them. And so I help my clients understand them better than those people understand themselves. And the next part is appreciating them. And how do we appreciate our clients? Well, we give them an amazing customer experience that they'll never forget. All right. So how are you going to deliver your solution? All right. Let's continue on here as we sort of turn the corner here and start to wrap up. Okay. Here's the thing that one of my mentors said to me: structure will lead you to all the freedom you'll ever desire. I'll say it again. Structure will lead you to all the freedom you'll ever desire. Okay? Can't half-ass it anymore. All right? If you want freedom in your life, you need structure, you need discipline, you need commitment. And so if you're not willing to build that structure, it's like building a house on sand. One good storm is going to come in, wipe you right out. I don't want to see that happen to you. I want to see you build and position your brand on a solid footing, on a 18-foot foundation, so that it will withstand any weather or market shift or anything like that you could ever imagine. Okay? So here's another point that I want to make that is extremely important. People will forget what you say or do, but they will never forget how you make them feel. Okay? A lot of the feedback that I get back from my Brand Accelerator clients is, I felt safe. I felt confident in the investment that I made with you because you brought me through the process every step of the way, and I did not feel lost. I felt like I made the right choice. I felt like you were the person for this job. That says a lot about my brand positioning and how I am being perceived as a subject matter expert. And I am just recreating that for my clients, because that's going to create tremendous business for you in the future. Okay? So remember, you can say or do everything, but it's how you make them feel that's going to change everything. All right? So here's what's going to happen. If you want to take yourself out of the commodity business, if you want to position yourself as a subject matter expert, if you want to level up your standards and level up the clients that you work with, you're going to have to start solving bigger problems. Because when you start solving bigger problems, you're going to start cashing bigger paychecks. Okay? And so here I just want to show you a 50% deposit on a project that I'm working on for one of my clients right now, who's a consultant. She's in the consulting space. And she's already doing well, but she wants to change the game in her industry. And she wants to be perceived as the obvious choice. And so this is a 50% deposit on the Brand Accelerator program at the level that she's invested in. Okay? And so when you start solving bigger problems, you'll start cashing bigger paychecks. Okay? And so what business are you really in? That's my question for you. You know, people ask me all the time, what business are you in, Henry? I'm in the time compression business. People want to build a business, build a brand, and they want to do it efficiently. They want to do it right. And they want to make sure that they're doing it with the right person. So I tell people, I'm in the confidence building business because I want you to feel good. I want you to be working at full potential, but I also want to compress that time for you. You know, it took me 12 years to get to where I'm at today. And I want to see people be able to do that in half that time, if not a fraction, 1/12 of that time. Right? And so I'm in the time compression business. What business are you in? Right? Ask yourself that question. Okay? Now, when you level up your brand, you're going to level up the clients that you attract. That's it. Nobody's going to hire somebody that they think they could do a better job themselves than the client or than the vendor, right? So they're always going to either hire somebody of their caliber or somewhat on their level, or someone who's above them. So if you're playing small and you want the whales and you want to attract the higher quality client, right? And your brand identity looks outdated, your messaging isn't resonating, you haven't updated your look, your feel, your messaging, and you haven't done any sort of maintenance to your branding. No wonder why you're getting the results that you're getting. Or what about the results that you could be getting that you're not, because you haven't taken that next step for yourself. That's the point that I want to make here. You level up your brand and you're going to level up the clients that you do business with. That's the end result. Okay? So anything is possible. Anything is possible if you find a big enough reason. All right? And I didn't make that up. That's a Tony Robbins quote that came flying over my brain one day. I think I was at UPW in Chicago, and he had mentioned this in one of his talks, and it really hit me. Anything is possible if you find a big enough reason. Right? And so I happened to find that reason, right? And that reason is right there. That reason is right there. Okay? And God blessed me with that little guy to help me create a legacy for that little guy, and for my wife, and for my family, for my father, who never gave up on me. Okay? So when you find a big enough reason, anything is possible. So here's a quick little, a plug for my social media. If you would like to follow me and learn more about my story, learn more about some practical tips and tricks and strategies on how to build and grow your personal brand, my biggest platform is Instagram, which is right there. It's the Brand DR. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel here, The Brand Doctor. The LinkedIn, you can find me there, Facebook, obviously, and on Twitter. So follow me, tweet me some questions, interact with me on social. I'm there constantly serving my audience and really helping them take their brands to the next level. So I hope you got some value out of this, guys. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your attendance. I appreciate your attention. I appreciate everything that you have done or have not done yet. By just coming on board and taking this time away from your day and investing it back into yourself. Okay. So if you have questions, comments, drop them down below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. If you think that you're ready for the next step into taking your brand to the next level, if you really want to position yourself as a subject matter expert, you want to level your standard up, you want to level up the quality of your clients, you're done playing safe, you're done playing small, then click that little button. There's a link below or a button below, and schedule that introductory consult call with me right now. And we will start the process, because at the end of the day, we're on this world for 2 minutes. So what do you want to do with that time? That's the question. So have an amazing day, guys. And I'll catch you on the next video real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.